Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sleeper Hole with our no disqualifications on the topics and falls count anywhere. I am your host, Priest, and of course with me as usual is, to my left, Zombie. And to my far right is the Kluganator. And as you'll notice, we have somebody here that's new, a guest.
Our first guest, actually.
Yes, actually that's true.
Our first guest in the new studio.
I'll say, in the new location is the queen of PWA.
It's the queen of the Indy scene.
Ah, I like that even better. The queen of the Indy scene.
Yeah.
Harley. Welcome.
What's up?
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I'm not sure we hold on to that. Queen of the Indy scene. I like that better now. It's going to be good.
It fits her.
I want to make sure Rob does that from now whenever he does his announcements during shows.
He might have to be reminded on that.
Yeah, he's just so used to calling me Queen of PWA. It's like, Rob, I've grown as a person.
We can beat it into him. That'll be fine.
Well,
all I have to do is ask him.
I'd like to do something first. Just start off this. Miss Harley, if you would please be so kind.
We're starting a program here at the Sleeper Hole where we're going to have all of our guests, current and future, signing their own space on our desk here.
Love it. Harley or Danielle. Great.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
That's going to be worth like $1 million.
Oh.
See, already has the confidence. You gotta love it. So, before we get into all the other stuff that we normally do, I do want to make sure we focus on our guests because, I mean, I know for all three of us, we're excited to have you here.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with all that's been going on lately in the indie scene and everything else. So, let's get to the whole meat and potatoes, if you will, of the situation. And talk about the fact that, you know, you've been working with PWA for quite a while. You started, if I'm going to be accurate on this, with PWA.
Yes.
What was your driving force, your motivation to consider getting yourself inside the square circle?
My driving force is just simply I watched wrestling since I was a kid, about 5 years old, and it's always intrigued me. The psychology behind it has always just captivated me, and eventually at the age of 16 I was like, you know what, screw it, let's just do it. And I researched into it and found PWA, and then I met up with Brian Ely and Tim Givens, and they got me signed on, and I started when I was 17.
So it was like no actual particular match that made you go, I want to do that?
No. It was just wrestling as a whole.
Just the
Nice.
overall. No, was there any particular female wrestler or wrestler in general that kind of made you go, that's what I want to do?
See, that's a loaded question.
A loaded question, huh?
Yeah.
I'm pretty good.
Welcome
I'm
to
pretty good
Sleeper
at doing that. I was gonna say I'm usually the ones pulling those ones out like that. So.
You see, my favorite female wrestler is Trish Stratus, and it's
Nice.
not necessarily in the way that she wrestles; it's in the way that she carries herself.
Right.
She always had like the "I'm the best" attitude, regardless if she was heel or face, and that's something that I always like admired, looked up to. It's just like, yeah, I'm the best. I'm gonna hold myself like I'm the best, and then
She definitely did too. So.
Oh, for sure. And then the male aspect of that would be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, love him.
He is by far my favorite wrestler. That and The Rock, but they're kind of neck and neck.
The high charismatic characters.
Yes.
The ones that are themselves turned up.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
110%.
They don't try to be something else. They be themselves, but turn from an 8 to an 11, and that's
Right.
perfect.
So they pull a full Celine Dion on that one, just crank it all the way up to 11.
It's Spinal Tap, not Celine Dion.
So
I'm going off of the Deadpool 2 thing, all right? Jeez.
So also
We were talking Marvel. I'm sorry, we were talking Marvel beforehand.
We
It's
were.
not like,
We were.
So
So I know that, like I said, you got into this whole like connecting with PWA, starting their whole training at the PWA Academy under the head trainer of Jaron, who we've had here on the show before. What were some of the biggest obstacles and challenges for you during your training times, aside from the injuries?
My first bump was the biggest obstacle.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing that
my
bumps
gosh.
weren't
Like,
your friend at first.
Ask anybody that was there that night. Like, my bumps were like the most like scarring things, and not only just for me, but for like them. Like
That they always flipped with you?
Yeah, like Brent Dunn. He told me that he had to like remove that memory, like block out that memory from his mind because it just scarred him so much.
Wow.
And I'm like, dang. I didn't realize they were that crappy. But like, I kept doing them. I kept getting through it. Like, I was either gonna go brain dead or I was gonna get those bumps one way or another.
Learning process.
Yeah.
I still to this day can never.
I don't remember that training night. In case you wonder. None of it.
Did you drown it with anything later on that evening, maybe?
I passed out in my couch. That was about all of it. I didn't even make it to my bed.
Of all the bumps I ever did when I was doing my training, one of the ones I never liked doing, and still to this day hate the idea of ever having to do it again, are the face bumps. I didn't mind flip bumps.
Man.
I didn't mind back bumps, but having my face go straight to that mat, I was like, this might hurt.
See, for some reason, I could do face bumps a lot more easily than I could do back. But I don't know what it was. Like, I saw the ground coming, so maybe that was helped a little bit. But
See, and for a while there, I know for me, I struggled with the flip bumps until somebody's like, okay, let me show you why you need to do a flip bump. You're gonna run. I'm gonna grab you. I want you to flip because you're gonna do a hip toss. I'm like, what? They're just go with it. You do a hip toss, as you've seen us do it, right? Yeah. Go with it. And I believe actually it was Brian Ely who was the one who did this with me. This is back in the 3CW days. I'm running, he grabs it, and I can feel him pull a little bit, so I'm like, I'm going to go with it, do the flip, and it's like, he goes, that's a freaking flip bump right there, now do it again. Okay. And then I got initiated with all the chops to the chest, which we don't talk about.
That's one of Brian's trademarks.
Full on Ric Flair.
It was, okay, so the initiation back in the day, I don't know if it's still that way PWA or anything, back in the 3CW days, it was, if you're going to be wrestling or you're going to be anywhere near the ring, you have to receive one chop from everybody. And so they're like, hold your necklace up, let everybody give you a chop. Okay, no problem. Put my necklace back down when I thought I was done with the list. And I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Brian again. But I remember putting my necklace down, and here comes running this one guy. BAM! Huge indent right in my sternum. And I'm like, I'm going to freaking kill you.
Did your chest look like Daniel Bryan's after the greatest spread?
It looked almost as bad as Kincaid back when we called him ground meat that one day, that one show. It was that bad.
Kincaid?
Johnny Kincaid.
Johnny Kincaid? Oh, snap, back at Brawloween last year?
Yes. When he was all ground meat and everything else, yeah, it felt and looked like that.
Him and IJ Sweet both were
Yeah, they were lit up.
I remember IJ's. His chest was just about as red as your shirt is.
Yeah.
Man, I felt so bad because I watched those kids grow up. So it's like, in the wrestling, not like grow up from like birth, but like in the wrestling world, I saw them from their first day of training until like their first match, and I'm over here like, oh, I'm so sorry.
You went through the same thing at one point in time, so.
Now, my thing is, if I remember correctly, you have had your own times of injury, especially I think you had one during training.
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
There was a time in training whenever I broke my talus bone, which is the rotator bone, and then I partially tore the what's it called? Tibia ligament.
Right up here.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. Partially tore that, and they told me that I needed to take a few months off, about 2 or 3, and then I should be good. Well, I got the all clear, all go ahead, and I started training, and immediately went back in the matches, and then broke my leg. So it was like, so it was like, I think I jumped back into it too soon. Probably should have taken a little bit more time to fully recoup, but it is what it is. You live and learn. And
yeah, I remember how frustrated seeing you. Like
I remember seeing that ringside show.
Yeah.
Man, that was
outdoor one, if I remember right.
It was out in Auburn. Yep. I remember saying I wasn't going to go to the hospital, and everybody surrounding me was like, either you're going to the hospital or we're going to force you to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
This isn't a joking matter.
There was definitely a moment.
Throw up the signs. It was terrible.
I still remember the first time I remember hearing that, like that was something, whenever I first started getting into the whole depths of wrestling rather than just being a fan, when I first heard that was what they did whenever there was something serious happening.
Yeah, it's call from front to the back to get the paramedics out there.
The real ones, not the ones that are actors.
I mean, it's definitely one of those I remember after that fact and everything else when you still had such high spirits and good spirits about everything. Like, I will be back. I am going to heal. I'm going to be back. But you could just see that look in your eye of like, I hate the fact that I'm not out there. This is driving me nuts that I'm injured yet again. But because you had that hunger in your eye, and now look where you are. You're like almost like a front runner for what the women are doing now in the local area. And I mean, we've got some of the biggest fans. I mean, we have one of the loudest fans I've
Oh my god.
Love her to death.
That little girl amazes me. Like, I go out there and I hear her immediately, and I'm like, oh, yep, she's here.
She's pierced our eardrums a few times.
I can't help but laugh about it, especially at the last show that I was at. And when your opponent's like, I'm not starting until she shuts up. And what does she do? She screams even more.
I even try. I was like, hey, it's okay, it's all right. Let's get this started. As soon as like she kind of quieted down, and then as soon as I turned my back, she's screaming again. I'm like,
Yep.
thank you.
I wish I could remember her name. I know we've talked to her.
Yeah, I talked to her
probably
before. But it's like, yeah, she definitely, she is the biggest fan for you and your partner Lander that you'll ever, I think you guys will ever have in the local area.
Oh, for sure. There's this group of kids, these little girls that just follow us wherever we go.
Yeah.
Granted, if it's in Illinois, they'll follow us wherever we go.
Yeah.
But they just follow us, and they always come up to us, and they're always like, hugs, pictures, autographs. And I'm like, don't you guys have 1,000 of these already? They're like, we don't care, we want more. And I'm like, all right.
They're collecting so they can sell them on eBay someday.
There you go.
Once again, those are going to be worth a lot of money.
I was looking through your fan page on Facebook, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be sure to link that down in the description later. And, like, just all the fan pictures that you've taken. Probably one of the best reception, fan to wrestler I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Even more so than Lander, even. I mean,
Well, I think
that's definitely something.
I think that plays a role also in the fact that for the longest time, you were the only female talent in PWA. Let alone you were the only fully known around the whole local Central Illinois area female talent who would not be afraid to step up to anybody, male or female. And that really kind of built a foundation for you that I think a lot of these younger audiences admire and kind of look forward to in their own right.
And inspired by.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure within the next 10 years we're going to see plenty of those girls that have been
And
following you around.
not just with the wrestling community, but I think it also helps inspire for outside that, whether it's with school or future careers. It's saying this woman here will face anybody, man or woman, to go for her goals of success. I should do the same, whatever my career is going to be. And I think that's really awesome that you kind of have been that catalyst for them and their motivations.
Yeah, that's one of it's the greatest. It's a great honor to have like such young fans who just come up to you. They admire you, they look up to you, and it's like it's like a lot to put on your shoulders to be a role model, but at the same time, it's one of the greatest things that I've ever experienced.
Absolutely. Now, I do want to mention, because I know, at least from my memory, because back in the days of the podcast, I did have you on as a guest one time on my show. It was actually...
Once upon, that was like back in my first...
It was back in your early years.
Way early years.
Like when you first started.
Yeah.
And PWA, and it was actually when I was doing my series about the women in wrestling, and I told you, I said, I want you to pick who do you want to be a guest for, and you did pick Trish. And I remember that because I remember us having a good talk about that, how she was a motivation for you and everything else. But I mean, we're talking, that was years ago.
Yeah.
And
I don't even think I've seen that archive.
Yeah, and now we have what's going on here and now. So the thing I want to ask you is, during that time span, what would you say are some of the big highlights in your career, not only with PWA, but with anywhere in the indie scene that you've gone to?
Oh man, that's another loaded question. I think the time that I went to Tennessee not too long ago, and I got to play heel. I'm not used to playing heel. I'm very much used to playing face. I have a wide spread of fans throughout Central Illinois, so it's like anywhere I go in Illinois, I'm usually playing a face character, unless it's down and wrestling over everything. Then I'm a heel down there. But down in Tennessee, I was playing a heel, and I got into like an actual screaming match with a few fans who were trying to jump the barricade, trying to come at me through the security guards. Like I had to be escorted out of my car to my car. Like it was intense. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm loving every bit of this.
And the big thing is, as a talent, your goal is to get a reaction out of the fans, whether it's positive, that they love you, negative, that they hate you, but getting that reaction and working with that reaction to where it's at that pivotal moment. That right there is what a lot of people who love to be heels strive for, is knowing that somebody virtually wants to lynch you.
Yes, it was so intense because it was down in Tennessee, so I was leaving during intermission. I had a 5.5-hour drive back home, so I'm like, but sorry guys, I'll stay if I didn't have to work. Like, see you. Yeah. But like as I'm walking out the door, and I just see like a crowd, because it's during intermission, so they're all going outside, either take a smoke break or just whatever, and they all turn and look at me and just start charging, and I'm like, okay, and I walk right back in, and I'm like, I'm not leaving, I guess, and the promoter's just like, what? Excuse me? And I'm like, I can't leave. So they had to escort me out to my vehicle, make sure I got out.
That's pretty wild.
And I'm like, if one of you guys hit my car, I'm hitting you with my car. Like, we're fighting for real after that.
That's pretty wild there. I never knew that story. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was a great moment. I loved it.
Adding in the clip of we're fighting for realsies if you hit my car. Like, that just, it makes it so much more like great, I think. It's like, yeah, you saw me being a heel in there, you want to see it for real?
Yeah, like I'm about to be very mean.
Touch my shit and we'll see where
touch my vehicle and you are dead.
You know, and that's one thing also I will say, even though you're near your face, up here in the central Illinois area, one thing I like about your character, my favorite time was when I saw this during the Wrestling for a Cure season 2, is when you basically went from, you're laughing, smiling, and everything else, even though you're getting slapped and this and that. Laugh spot, and then that just deadpan serious face. Like, quick flip of the switch. And it was like, is this the angle we're going with this gimmick? Because now it's one of those, how stable is Harley once you push those buttons? And do you really want to push them that far to where she's no longer here to have fun and put on a good match, but she's here to rip your head off? And I was kind of wondering, is that an angle you're kind of building for yourself?
To be continued.
Good answer.
Hey, that just means we have a reason to bring her back.
There you go. Yeah. I'm not going to complain on that one.
Yep.
I got it.
Harley's mental stability is
part 2.
That's definitely a part 2 question.
Yeah. I do have a question for you. What's been like who's been one of your favorite opponents that you faced in your career? I mean, I know, again, that's a loaded question, yes. I mean, there's been quite a few people that you've faced.
And you've had some good historical feuds with, like Bishop and all that, too. So, I mean, this is a good, I'd agree, this is a good question.
I really enjoy fighting Shauna Reed. I enjoy wrestling with her. She's one of the...
You guys are good back and forth.
Yes.
The times that I've seen you guys perform together.
Yes. Savannah Stone is another one that I enjoy working with. I haven't... Probably those two, female-wise, like, I don't want to put in tag team competitors because tag team, like, you don't.
It's a different dynamic.
Yes, it's a way different dynamic. I'm thinking purely just on singles.
One-on-one, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely Shauna and Savannah are my top 2 at this moment.
Well, as we know with, like I said, I mentioned a little bit here about the local scene, but we also know with the big scene, if you will, like the WWE and all that, we have Evolution coming up. Our first all-women's pay-per-view, if you will, event. What does that mean for you? And then I have a follow-up after you take care of that.
It means so much. Like, it's hard to explain the feeling that you get whenever you see WWE finally realizing what they have.
Yes.
Like, women's wrestling has just become so
evolved. I guess
evolved. And like, it's not even evolved because it didn't have to evolve. It was always there.
Right.
It's just become so. It's just become the popular thing. That's what people want to see. Yes, it's finally recognized and looked at as like, geez, these girls can literally roll around and run around in the ring like the guys can, kick some ass. Like, it's finally being recognized for what it is as wrestling, not as these are divas. These are wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not just eye candy. You guys can actually throw
down.
I always throw out the fact, like, I'm not a women's wrestler. I'm a wrestler. Like, I always that's going on a t-shirt. But
I'm not
a
woman's
wrestler. So that's a quote,
I'm
Harley.
I'm a wrestler. Yeah.
I'm not a woman's wrestler. I am just a wrestler.
I like that.
there's no other.
You'll see it on merch in the future.
There you go. Now, with that being said, though, like I said, yeah, we're seeing that with the big guys, but we're also seeing that now locally with a lot of the local companies getting more female talent.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel for you to see that evolution in its own right here locally, to where you are starting to see an actual women's division around here?
I've been pushing for a women's division for so long. So long.
You may not have caught that glare just then, but she went right
to him.
There's a glare to him. That's him.
I've been pushing for it too. It was just lack of people available to do it.
Well, okay. I just like what she says, because it's not just to him. It's just he's right there, but it's Archie, Brian, this person, that person.
She's
everybody.
She's directing her angst at him because he is a board member of the PWA.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear.
Poor Jason.
Him.
I've been pushing for that for so long because, while I love wrestling with the guys, I'm never gonna fault that. I love wrestling with the guys. I love I grew up with those guys. Again,
well, that and they don't hold back with you. Is the one thing I've noticed. Now, I respect them for that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, none of them hold back. They treat me like I'm one of the I'm a wrestler. They treat me like I'm a wrestler because I am a wrestler.
You're a wrestler first.
Exactly. Yeah. And to see them finally recognize, hey, we need an actual women's division for her, because it's not like I can go for the regional heavyweight championship. It's not like I can go because that's a male dominant championship, regardless of it all.
I mean, you could.
I definitely could.
I don't think there's ever been an actual restriction.
I still say, as long as he has the time, you can call out your tag partner and say, hey, look, you did say during an interview you'd be willing to give me a chance.
We never sat down and said, no, this can only be one by me.
I mean, you guys know this too, because we've had the recording of it.
Yeah.
Lander did say if she ever wanted a shot. So I'm saying she needs to call him out. Say, hey, just a friendly competition. You and me.
Yeah, we trained together. We literally, me and Lander grew up together in that ring.
And that would
we started at the same time.
I'm just going to say, you guys grew up from birth. That's.
I mean, you
continue to emphasize that.
Yes.
I mean, you guys know each other better than anybody else knows you two, because you guys, like you said, you trained together. You started that academy together.
Yes.
You tag partners, so you guys even understand each other's psychology.
Mm-hmm.
And
that would be a good match.
It would. I'm sorry to say, this is what I'm saying. Picketing Priest, presidents. Come on, let's make this happen.
Get shit done. That's what that is.
That's right.
All those practice matches that we had in training, everything. We know each other like the back of our hand. So it's
I want to see what that one fan would do.
She would lose her mind.
She would not know who to scream for, because she'd be like, I got my two favorite people back and forth.
She would be screaming the entire time.
That was
just nonstop throughout the entire match, because she doesn't know which one to do it for. So she's like,
we have to get her oxygen mask by the time it's over.
She would probably pass out, because we've seen her screaming so hard that her face is turning red.
Yeah.
It's almost like that kid from Beardstown. They had a sign for Casey Jackson and a sign for Truck Thompson. And she was holding it up like that with Casey, and all of a sudden she realized Truck was coming out. She went back to her little pile of signs and had them both held up. That was great.
Oh man, it just cracks me up, because I would love to see how people look at well, who are you going to root for? Because I know back in the last show I went to, people were looking at me with that when it came to Moss and Lander, and I'm like, these are two of my favorite people. I mean, you get people that I actually enjoy seeing, because I see the hard work they put in. I can't pick, especially with the two faces. So I can just see that happening, where that's on the card, and walking up to her going, who do you think is going to win? And she's just going to be smirking, going, I don't know, but I want to see this.
It's a match you want to see, but it's a match you're like, oh, my heart.
Exactly.
But either way, you're going to be like, that was an amazing match, and I'm glad that blank
wins the title,
or
retains it. Yeah,
retained.
It definitely would be a match to steal the show. I will definitely say that. Now, speaking of matches and everything else, Jason, come on.
It's taking forever to get a win.
Maybe you need to start talking to Jaron about that, since he's the one that actually.
Now, speaking of matches, though, we do have coming up Brawloween.
Oh, yeah.
And you have a tag match where you're teaming up with Victoria.
Yep.
Former WWE superstar Victoria.
Nice.
What are you feeling about all this?
Oh my god, I'm feeling so many mixed emotions about that match. Like, Victoria has always been one of the first women that I've watched in the ring.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen her live. She is the first woman that actually sparked my attention. Like,
Yeah.
Trish has always been one that I admired and looked up to, but Victoria has always had this character about her.
Oh,
This just amplification of herself that I'm like, this woman's badass.
You're gonna feed off of that one.
Oh my gosh.
You're gonna have trouble like wiping that smile off.
Like,
your face.
it's gonna be so hard. It's gonna be hard to not like get amped,
Yeah.
like giddy. Like, I'm no wrestler. She's just a wrestler. Like, it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal. Like,
Absolutely. I get it completely.
it's such a variety of emotions that I'm feeling about that. And then plus I'm going against two of my favorite opponents, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is
another good match.
another great match.
I mean, and I get the whole giddy factor because that was like back when I was at Wizard World. I was talking about, I want to interview this guy, that guy. I was getting giddy myself. And, and Pickett and all the guys were like, "You interviewed other wrestlers before. Why is this a big deal? You interviewed Billy Gunn.
No.
Well, yes. But they're like, you guys have interviewed Billy Gunn. You guys have interviewed this person. You've interviewed that person. You've interviewed talent that's locally. How are these guys any different?" I'm like, Mick Foley, Kane,
Legend.
Christian, one of the people that I wanted to model after if I ever did get inside the ring. This person, that person. Are you really going to ask me these questions?
And Kane, I mean, that.
It kind of is, because like you said, yeah, they're just wrestlers, but at the same time,
all those interviews are available on our channel.
Yes.
That's true. But it's like they have built something for me to grow up into loving.
Yes.
And that's
110%.
what Victoria did too.
Yeah.
Yes, 110%. So it's like, it's just, I'm overall, it's an honor. Like,
Absolutely.
I feel so honored to be able to step in the ring with her, regardless if it's not going against each other, it's together side by side.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, I'm going to learn so much from her just by being her tag partner.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, this is going to be something that I'll never forget. This is going to be a highlight moment.
Now,
One of many to come.
One of many.
Besides being on cloud nine throughout the whole match, like you said, you have two of your favorite rivals, two of your favorite opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Any particular strategy that you're willing to share this early on?
I mean, no.
I'm trying
Andy giving away all the
I'm trying to pull a Corey Graves here, okay?
I mean, you're just going to have to come to Brawloween and find that out like everybody else.
You know I will.
way to sell tickets.
I got you. I already sold tickets.
I'll say that event link will also be down in the description later.
So we've talked about, the women's division finally creating. We've talked about all these other things that's happening here locally. What would you personally, as Harley, like to see happen next in the local community for the wrestling world?
Man, I'd really like to
We're
see
just
that.
loading those questions up.
I'd really like to see that women's title.
I would like to see that women's title too.
We could be working on that. I just can't give you a specific timeline yet.
Mm.
But it is something that
Give me the plates, give me a Dremel, give me the stuff. I will do it for you.
Well, if we just want to go old school, I've got a replica of the Raw women's belt over.
No. We gotta make it unique and special for PWI.
Right.
Well, I mean, we're talking about old school, like independent fed, just take a replica belt and, hey, there's our championship.
But yeah, I can agree with you on the whole. Definitely get a title involved and everything else. I think that would be good. But aside from that, I mean, are you wanting to see more everyone's chance to network and branch out further, or anything like that for all of you women to get involved?
Oh yeah, for 110%. Like, branching out is one of the things. Like, that's just a thing in indie wrestling.
Yeah.
You gotta branch out. You gotta make your name known. Unless, of course, you just want to be central. Like, unless you want to just be in Springfield, stay in Springfield. Like, that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly capable of that. In fact, I'm taking a break from traveling after the end of this year. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But, like, you always got to branch out. You always got to travel. You always got to make sure that you're making your name and getting out there and getting the experience, because there are 1,000 different ways to wrestle.
Yeah.
There's
So you guys hear right there, before the end of the year, if you're wherever, get a hold of her now, because then she'll be done.
for a little while. Yeah.
Don't care if it's Canada, don't care if it's Louisiana, wherever. There's your opportunity.
Information down below.
So, aside from ideally getting a women's title and, of course, having that eventually around your waist, what are your future
Oh,
goals?
eventually, it's gonna be.
I love how you said eventually around.
I have to play a little bit of the devil's advocate here.
She will be the first women's.
Unless she gets screwed over, I can fully agree with you on that. But I have seen some interesting things happen, so I'm not going to count anything out. Like I said, I have to play devil's advocate a little bit. But aside from the women's title, I hear that might come sooner or later. What else would be the future goals for Harley?
Sooner rather than later.
As she said, hopefully sooner rather than later.
What else would you like to see as the future goals for Harley?
Man, like my goal at first was to just get into wrestling and just be a wrestler. Like I've never set goals for myself.
Fair enough.
I just loved what I did and continue to love what I do, and I don't try to stress about it. I don't try to, because I joined wrestling because I love it and I want to have fun with it. I didn't join wrestling to stress myself out about it, to be like, well, I didn't meet this goal, so now I'm sad. Like, I joined wrestling for the ride, for the long haul.
Right.
And if you stress yourself out about it, if you hurt yourself, like that's negativity. And like, you didn't join wrestling to be stressed. You joined it because you loved it and you wanted to have fun and be happy with it. Like, this wrestling's supposed to be a stress reliever, not a cause of your stress.
Yeah.
So an overall goal would just be to inspire other people. Like, that's all I want. I just want to be able to inspire other people to do whatever they want to do.
There you go. I like that. It's a good one.
I like that she says other people. She's not specifically reaching to try to inspire other women to become wrestlers. You're wanting people to become wrestlers.
Yeah,
regardless, male or female.
And it's not even just wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to inspire people, regardless of if you want to be a wrestler or if you want to be a doctor or a firefighter or a lawyer or whatever. Like, you go do you, and as long as you keep positive and as long as you keep going, you're gonna get there. Like, that's all I want to do.
I like that. That's really good.
Definitely.
Well, that's all the questions I have for her, guys. Do you guys have anything else before we move to the next usual topics?
Well, I had been talking about this for a few months with the whole evolution and the tag titles that I keep saying are going to be a thing when it comes to women's wrestling. Is that something that you are you maybe have any aspirations of going to that level at all? Like we've seen Roscoe, who's up that level now.
Oh man, I'm so proud of that guy.
Because you
that was
trained
another
to work
guy,
with him. So
that was another guy that I essentially grew up with.
Yeah.
Like every wrestler that gets in, like every indie wrestler has a want, a dream to be on the big screen, to be on the big scene, to be at WrestleMania, to be wherever, on WWE, regardless if it's WrestleMania or Raw or SmackDown. They don't care. They just love being there. Yeah. Like every wrestler has that dream, has that goal. Is it something that I'm like giving my heart and devotion into working towards? No, I'm enjoying my ride right now. Like, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I love what I do. I love how I do it. I love when I do it. If it comes to me, who am I to say no?
Right.
Like, of course, I will immediately go to NXT. I don't care. Like, if WWE
you'll be on the next flight to Orlando.
Yeah, WWE comes knocking at my door and be like, okay, yes, hello, nice to meet you. Let's go to Orlando. Let's go.
Even if you were a jobber for like 2 years,
it would just be a good nostalgic feeling. I grew up watching WWE, so
good
it's like
experience and good learning.
Well, I was going to say good learning
Even
experience.
Savannah Stone, not too long ago, was
squashed by Nia
Jax.
But I'm sure it was a good learning experience.
Yeah, 110%.
How to be on the other side of that particular
right.
Because I've been to plenty of indie companies where it's like they had hard cameras, they had cameras going around, you had to figure out which way to look, how to look, where to look.
Right.
They had. Like, I've never been to an indie company. Like, recently I have, but before then I was so flabbergasted because they were like, there's an X at the front of the stage that they put out there, like that's where you stopped and did your pose. If you stopped it before or after that X, like you were either out of camera shot or you messed something up. Like you had to stop on that X, get right on camera shot. They would come towards you, get all the angles. Like as you walk down, they told you try to steer right. You know, like go right, and the camera will follow you. They told you exactly which corner post to go. Like this is where the hard camera's at. Like it was so, like production wise, just flabbergasting. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm just used to doing whatever the hell I want.
Seeing a single camera stationary and then somebody walking around with a camera.
Yes. Like it was a way different feeling than just crying me walking around me and filming me. Like
I wasn't going to state it by name, but that's.
Well, come on, Crime Fighter films all our shows. It's awesome.
Yes, he does.
He does good work.
Any other questions that you have?
You've pretty much covered everything I was going to say.
Totally.
I've had some practice after dealing with Chicago. I was like, I gotta figure out how to make good, hard-hitting questions. I'll be honest, that was a good experience. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move over to, the big times, if you will, like I always like to call them, Raw and SmackDown and all that jazz. First off, let's talk a little bit about Raw. We saw definitely that there is some potential cracks in the Shield and Team Strowman.
In both of them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people are kind of questioning what's going on with Dean.
I think they're playing us.
What's that?
I think they're playing us.
And say people are now wondering if they're doubting Dolph calling him the weak link. I'm right there with you when it comes to Dean. I think Dean's playing everybody for saps.
Mm-hmm.
Dean may play the crazy lunatic fringe, but he's a lot more crafty than people think. I mean, before he even got injured, he started to show us that he really knows how to play the game and get people to believe what he wants, even when it's not the same thing.
See, I don't know so much if the cracks are showing from him or if Renee Young actually is the one showing cracks. But based on how she's been commentating during his matches, how she's changed her way she's relaying information during his match, or even whenever he's out there, she changes how she speaks. And even Corey Graves has called her on it.
Well, I think it's because they're starting to realize that, hey, people are being too smart. You can't just ignore the fact that they're married. We already know this. It's starting to be established before he got injured.
The majority of the universe knows that Renee Young and Dean Ambrose
back when there was the Miz-Ambrose feud and Maurice got involved, and we all talked about how we would love to see Renee Young and Maurice duke it out. Right. I think now they're realizing we can't keep playing dumb to this because the fans know better. So I think that's why they're getting Renee to play different.
The shades of kayfabe are definitely...
well, especially when you have shows like Total Divas that kind of take you behind the scenes, and Renee and
but my thing is,
were featured on there at one point.
But I don't think Dean Ambrose, or really, if you look at it, even Renee Young are the overall weak link in this. It's not even Strowman's team or Shield. It's more of I don't even want to say his name. The dumbass that's the GM right now.
The former TGI Fridays.
Yeah, the one that stole. Yeah.
All fair.
But I mean, the thing is, I have to say that I think Harley has a point here. I think Dean's just playing us.
Yeah.
But that still brings up my other point of there's a possible fracture in Team Strowman because they made it very clear that we do not tolerate weak links, and that was directed immediately to Ziggler.
I think what they're doing again. I think that's another play. Like, cause I don't trust WWE. Like, that's just the thing. I don't trust them bitches.
She said it. I mean, I agree. I mean, McIntyre and Strowman are clearly the stronger of the
I think it's going to be McIntyre that
pushes it.
That leaves.
I would say because they are the stronger ones, but Ziggler's the experienced one. So that's one of the reasons why he's there. But I do see that. I do think that McIntyre eventually is going to branch out on his own. He needs to.
Yeah.
It was great having them as a team for a while, but it would have been great only if they finally would have given them the belts.
It's similar to the
that would have worked.
It's similar to the failure we saw with Enzo and Cass. I mean, Cass clearly couldn't establish himself on his own because of the past he had with, and now they're
no. It wasn't that he couldn't establish himself on his own because Cass couldn't speak.
Yeah.
Cass was not the talker.
No.
And like the reason why Enzo and Cass worked so well together is because Enzo could talk, but Cass could wrestle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always want to put a mouthpiece with somebody who's not good at talking. Look at
Exactly.
Lesnar and Heyman.
Exactly. And
Or
then,
early Taker. And
I mean, every time Lesnar opens his mouth, it sounds like Mickey Mouse talking.
exactly.
True.
110%. But like Enzo was mediocre at best in the ring, and I mean he botched so many
Oh, yeah.
things. He was mediocre at best.
Cass could throw it out.
And then Cass was a really good wrestler. He's a really good technical wrestler. So put those two together, and then you got a great tag team because they work well with each other.
Yeah.
The reason why Cass couldn't make it on his own is because of the fact that he couldn't speak. And that's the reason why Enzo barely made it on his own unless it was for the cruiserweight. Like, the cruiserweight division is what made Enzo anything. And it was because the cruiserweights were making Enzo look better than what he actually was.
I mean, Cass is almost the flip side of what we're seeing now with Samoa Joe. I mean, to bounce around toward SmackDown. I mean, obviously, at one point in time, Samoa Joe couldn't handle himself on the mic. I mean, with the exception of this BS he's pulling right now with Styles' family.
The whole creepy stalker.
He was pulling himself and actually making himself a presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole stalker thing.
It's a little too far.
I mean, so you seriously think that it's just an act when it comes to Team Strowman, but you do see McIntyre going on his own.
It's not that I see it as an act. I see Braun is definitely targeting Ziggler, but I think Drew himself is just going to be like, I'm done. This is it. I'm going out on my own. With the Shield, however, I don't see them breaking up anytime soon. They're not gonna put them back together for this.
And then
just to have them fall apart right now. Like they're gonna drag this. Yeah, they're gonna.
Technically, third time now.
That would be the second time.
Well, they did break apart because of.
Real something happened. Like whenever Rollins stabbed them in the back. Like they're not gonna bring them back together just for Ambrose to stab them in the back.
No.
No.
I don't see it. Ambrose doing.
Ambrose is
no, because the next time that it happened, then we'd expect Roman to be the one.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it's Roman to be the one. Roman needs it. Like
people already
he needs something. Because right now he's just spinning his wheels. Let's be honest.
Yes.
He's been spinning his wheels since Cena called him out in that promo.
Yeah.
Promo that one time.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
And
I do that.
Back in the NXT days, whenever Roman was in NXT, he was a heel. And I mean, while his wrestling is not sloppy, but you can definitely tell he needs work, he played a really good heel.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he amplified that a little bit, made it a little bit better, because he's definitely improved on the mic.
Yeah.
He's not what he was, but if he just improved it a little better, went heel and just did exactly what he did, I'm the guy. Started wearing the suits. That's what I hated whenever they broke the Shield up the first time. Why didn't you turn Roman then? Why not Roman? He was the guy that you guys wanted him as the guy.
Yeah.
So why not just try to make him the guy?
I feel like if they would have had Roman do the double cross instead of Seth, it would have been a little bit more believable.
Way more believable. Seth is not the one that they want on the posters. They don't want him on the posters. They don't want him on anything because he's Mr.
CrossFit.
Yes. Don't knock on CrossFit.
I'm not knocking on it. I'm just saying that's what they keep calling him is Mr. CrossFit.
He had the long, stringy hair. He had the full beard.
Yeah.
He didn't look like John Cena.
Yeah.
He didn't have John Cena's build. He didn't none of that. He certainly had the charisma for it, but it didn't feel real. It didn't feel authentic. If they would have just did what they did with Seth with Roman, it would have felt more real and way more believable. Because he's the guy that they want on the posters. He's the guy that he's the guy that they want as the face. Because he has that pretty face. He's clean cut. Has that long, pretty hair.
And he's the new polarizing guy that Cena used to be.
Well, and the majority
Vince has always been partial to the bigger, muscular type.
Exactly.
110%. So that I've always hated whenever they broke the Shield at that time. Not because I just loved the Shield and I was heartbroken whenever it happened, but because they did it so messed up.
The majority of the universe already hates Reigns as it is now. I mean, people hate him. I mean, they need to feed off of that alone.
Exactly.
I mean, we've seen it many, many different times with many, many different performers. And I mean, with the exception of Angle, obviously, he loves it when people say that he sucks.
Yeah.
He got to the point where he embraced it.
And
I mean, the
people
same
do it
thing
now
with
for
like
the
John
same
Cena.
thing.
Like,
Yeah.
it got to the point where he's just like, boo me. You still don't watch me.
You're still
Exactly.
you're still here. You still bought the tickets. You're
Boo me
still.
all you want. You still here.
Yeah.
You ain't leaving. So sit
I
down
don't
and
see
enjoy
you
your
getting up.
nachos.
I don't see you getting up and going to the bathroom whenever I'm coming out. I see you right there looking at the ring.
Well, let's speaking of booing, we'll skip to the other bullet point I had. We had Owens and Elias out, and they made the best jab ever to where the fans would not stop booing over them, making it hard for them to talk.
I hit my Elias button whenever I saw the recording of that.
Oh, you missed it. The fact that the fans were booing so hard
What do you got against
that
Elias?
you could
I
barely
love
get
Elias.
your word out.
I do not. I'm
So,
not a fan of Elias.
Not only do I want to talk about that heat,
Walk without
because
Elias.
my thing is we have not seen two individuals get that much heat in a long time on Monday Night Raw. That was the biggest heat.
Owens is a heel. He
Owens
is
is
just.
Zayn.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a heel
He
to the
is.
core.
He is just a no. Zayn's a face.
He kind of walks the
Zayn-
fence.
Zayn, I don't think he could ever fully be heel, only because he's the
Well, when he was
cute
with
Irish cute
Yeah.
Canadian redhead
Well-
that skips. Like
Well, when he
nobody's
broke-
ever gonna take him seriously as a heel.
That's-
Like,
that's
when
the
he
problem
rolled
he has.
with Owens, he fed off of Owens's.
yeah, that's
From
the only reason why he
He
got.
can't do it solo. Is
No,
what you're saying.
never. He's never gonna be able to do that solo because
No.
he's the cute redhead Canadian that skips down to the ring and dances and wears those cute hats and like gets so excited. Like he's never gonna be.
And
able
looks
to
like
be
adult version of Seth Rogen.
110%.
But I mean,
I never thought about that. Actually, that's an interesting comparison.
but here's the thing that I loved about that was not only did they get so much heat, that not only did the fans cause the biggest booing I've heard in a long time watching wrestling, but even when Leo Rush tried to come out to talk up his guy, to be the hype guy for Lashley, the fans were still too focused on booing Owens and Elias. That it took a lot just for even Leo Rush to get a word in to talk up Lashley. Now, that being said, here's my thing. What does it say about your career when you desperately need a hype guy? I mean, it's different.
I was
Oh,
when you-
about to ask, like, what do you guys feel about Lashley? Because I'm not feeling him.
No,
like,
I'm not either. I mean, it's different when you have an advocate like Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
That's a believable gimmick. But when you have the hype guy to try to talk you up and build you up
And
before
you
your
can't
match,
get a word in over people booing two other people.
I'm not even worried about that. I'm worried about the fact that if the only way you can get your career back off the ground is by hiring a hype guy to talk you up right before you come out to perform, it doesn't look good in your career, if you ask me. It looks kind of sad.
He's solid in performance, but when it comes to his ability to
It's one of those
relay-
ideas that might have looked good on paper, but when they executed
It was one of those ideas that Vince had where he was like, "This is brilliant," and then they happen, and he's like, "I hate it,"
Well,
and now
He's stuck with it.
Well, look
and
at-
now he's stuck with it.
when you look at Lashley and look at what Vince loves, I mean, he's
Yeah.
a model image of what it is that Vince loves.
And yet he can't speak for anything.
No, he can't.
And it's just
Off topic, when
I
it
can't
comes to
with
Vince,
Lashley.
how much longer do we think that we're going to see Vince actually calling the shots?
not much longer. I think. Well,
I mean, he's not
whenever
going
I
to
say
give
that,
up.
I mean, whenever I say not much longer, I'm saying I don't think he's going to be live much longer. Like I think he's senile enough. He's probably going to be gone within the next 5 to 10 years. I'm willing to bet money. Like
I was going to say at least 5 years before the torch is passed fully.
yes.
well,
like,
he may die and that torch may be passed, but I guarantee there's something in a will somewhere that has a catalog of videos that if this happens, watch this video and execute every single thing that's in that
you
catalog.
know for a fact Triple H is going to be like,
Exactly.
let's bring in NXT.
I can
Taking
just-
over.
I can just see it now. Mr. McMahon had a living will recorded for you and Stephanie to watch. However, I can't find the videos anymore. And right away, Stephanie's like,
videos.
Paul, did you do anything? I have no idea what you're talking about.
I found the videos, but I
So,
can't seem to find the
so-
I have no
videos.
idea what you're talking about, but I have
No, I didn't put them in the.
Exactly.
Can we make some calls and get them
I
signed?
can tell you where they're not though. They're not in the vault where the other unwatchable videos are.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Which
convinced
including the
that
Owen Hart.
I'm
Yeah.
convinced that Vince has no idea.
That will be something that will happen. The moment that Vince is gone out of that picture, we will see Owen finally get what he deserves.
It's not. It's not.
It's never been WWE that's been holding it up. It's been Owen's wife that's
Yeah.
been holding up the
I'm
Hall of
thinking,
Fame.
but Vince's involvement, I feel, will once he's gone, there will be
He's been pushing.
movements.
He's been one of the hardest pushing people for Owen to get on the Hall of Fame. It's just Owen's wife is like, I don't want him anywhere involved. I don't want.
I just feel like it will
involved
change.
with
I
companies more.
feel like something will change once Vince's name.
I don't
no
know.
longer-
I would like to see it, but at the same time, I love the fact that even Brett called out his sister-in-law and was like, "You're such a dumb idiot for not letting Owen get the Hall of Fame, for not letting your children know about their father and his career." I mean, Owen called her right out about it during a podcast, and I'm like, "Thank you, Brett."
I don't know.
Like, I'm convinced Vince McMahon doesn't know about NXT. Like
He just doesn't pay attention to it.
110%. No, not that he doesn't pay attention to it.
What's
But
this thing
I'm
on the
convinced
network?
that like Triple H has just hidden NXT away from him because Triple H runs that. And, like it's amazing.
Oh
It's the
yeah.
most watchable thing in WWE right now. Like,
Oh yeah.
and it has been for years.
It's-
And I'm convinced that Vince has nothing.
Only what, like an hour long, and it
Yeah,
easily
it's
trumps
an
all
hour
the stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and then once you see the
So-
talent on there, you just start to wonder when they're going to hit the main roster.
Exactly. You're like, okay, these guys are really doing great. Move them up. And then when we do see some of them move up, 9 times out of 10, they still stay pretty awesome. Like
Yeah.
Andrade, Cien Almas.
Yeah.
But you see other ones where they move. It's like maybe it was too quick for them, and then they
And
do
then
go back.
They go back.
Eventually.
It's like the difference between majors and minors of most professional sports.
True.
I mean,
Like, I think Vince at one point was just like, "What's this? How's NXT doing?" And Triple H is just like, "Hey Vince, have you seen a selfie stick yet?" And Vince is like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And then here we go.
I now want to draw a
Backstage
comic
thing.
strip of this whole thing.
yeah.
Like,
Wow, that's definitely you've definitely opened up my eyes for some different perspectives.
I like that.
That's great.
Moving onwards, though, because I know we are starting to run on time. I do want to talk a little bit about SmackDown. I do want to talk a little bit about SmackDown with the whole. First off, Orton's assault on Ty with his finger. We no longer have the perfect 10; we have the perfect 9.
Damn.
I
I saw the footage of that.
My question is, how far are they going to keep this going with Orton? I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, the fact that they can make Orton cause people to cringe in their seats
When I saw him put
is actually better than what they've been doing with Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. I will say 100%.
it's better.
But it's one of those, it's like, man, how far are we going to go with this before finally somebody puts a stop to the chaos known as Randy Orton?
If they stop Randy Orton before they stop Samoa Joe,
That'd be a big
that's
mistake.
be a big mistake. I mean,
Like,
hell, seeing him stick a screwdriver through
Jeff Hardy.
that's what I was trying to say. My brain
Jeff
was going in a
Hardy's
different
ear?
direction. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
Oh.
meant.
Dude,
I
I was
was
squirming
twisted
so
around.
hard.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man.
I was squirming so hard. I was like, man, I usually
I've
ears
watched
don't
so many
bother
gore
me.
movies, so many gory movies,
Oh
and I'm
my
like,
God.
Well, see, that's just it for me. It's like, unless it's...
How many people do you know that have ear gauges?
plenty of people.
Plenty.
Yeah.
And I've seen some big ones. I've seen the little ones, but any one of them sees that and they're immediately going.
Well, see, that's just different. It's like, usually when it comes to horror films, unless it's something to do with the eyes, I'm okay. But watching him do that actually on the, hell of a I'm going, ow, 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 ow.
Yeah.
And all I can think is, the scene from Punisher, the original, the Punisher movie that came out before, the guy
The one with
removing
Thomas,
all the piercings.
the one with Thomas Jane.
Yeah.
That was, oh
And
my
I'm just thinking,
God.
going, that made me cringe because I'm just thinking he's gonna rip that ear apart, and that was the only reason why it's like if they're gonna actually let this be shown, that is much.
The fact of the matter is in that case, there's one of two potential scenarios in that. One, Jeff Hardy knew about it, and he's like, yeah, sure, go for it.
More
Well, you already know. You already know Jeff's going for it.
Yeah. And then,
Like,
but
as much of a drilling junkie as he is, he was like, dude.
the other one's just like Randy Orton, and he goes, yeah, go ahead and do whatever you want. And then he gets to it, and then he's right in his ear going, hey, I'm gonna put a screwdriver here. And he's just like,
what? Okay.
Go for it.
No, like Jeff wouldn't even have that face. Jeff would be like, okay, like he's like from any story I've ever heard about Jeff Hardy, he is the chillest. That you come to him, he's like, hey, can you jump off of this 80,000-foot ladder onto a pile of screwdrivers?
Yeah, okay.
And he's like, yeah, I guess. Yeah,
I guess
sounds good to me.
Wow. He is such an adrenaline junkie. But the thing is, now we have two talents injured, and for who knows how long. Because I'm going off the premise that the way they were trying to act like it is that his finger got broken for Ty Dillinger. So, A, who's the next victim? And B, when does it end? Who's going to be the one man that can stop Orton?
Shinsuke will probably be the next one that he goes after, I think.
Oh, he seems
no, it's not.
Shinsuke.
Shinsuke's not going to be the next one he goes after. Shinsuke's going to be the one that stops him.
You think Shinsuke will be the one that says enough's enough?
He's been attacking every one of Shinsuke's opponents. Put the math together here.
See, well, I mean, I saw how it is that he approaches Shinsuke, and he doesn't approach him the same way as he approached Jeff Hardy or Ty Dillinger. He looks at him. He looks at him as more of a potential threat, and he's analyzing. But he's analyzing him a little bit more. We're seeing that apex predator watching. We're seeing that lion across the Serengeti watching that gazelle, and he's going to take him down. That's why it is that he's doing what he's done, why he's done what he's done to Jeff Hardy, why he's done to Ty Dillinger, and anyone else that we see. We're going to see, and obviously Nakamura is watching this too. So but the only thing that Nakamura is not getting is Orton's basically warning him. This is you're next. You're the one next one in line.
I don't think he's the next one in line. I think it's going to be plenty more people.
Oh, that's what I meant. Like, I mean,
we get
each time
Nakamura, but I believe Nakamura is going to be the one to stop him.
I think before we get to the conclusion, the best way they could go about this is back when they had Orton for a while, away from after Evolution and everything else, he ended up basically stalking and harassing and messing with Hunter and Stephanie. Mm-hmm. To the point where one time he had Hunter handcuffed and kissed an unconscious Stephanie to tick off Hunter.
I forgot about
that. I feel like to really make this pile up is have Orton just go so deep, so down the rabbit hole, so crazy that he does something like that again to where it gets under Hunter's skin, where he hires someone to be the one to put out the Viper. And that would make the big climax. And the best part is, it could be where he goes to Shinsuke and going, look, you have this fighting style that he's never faced. You have this, you have that, and you are the champion. Take him out for me. And I will take you to the next level. Or I will grant you this, or grant you that. And I think that would be the best way they can go about this, is to make it where Orton is so much out of control that even the COO cannot tame him. And I think that'd be the best move.
See, I disagree. Only because back whenever he did that to Steph, they were doing the thing where he had bipolar disorder.
They were focusing on it.
Yeah, and I believe that they would have to almost revert back to that, and they don't want to
offend anyone.
Anymore.
I could see your point there.
They still play on it with his entrance music. I mean,
they play on his schizophrenia with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when they stopped the bipolar disorder thing because people were getting offended because it's a legitimate mental disorder. Like people were getting offended by it because people get like it's whatever, and it's WWE, so they're like, okay, sorry, we'll stop.
Yeah.
And they would almost have to revert back to that, and I don't think they will.
Fair enough.
So I truly 110% believe that Triple H, nobody from the higher ups is going to get involved with this.
Yeah.
Like, they may get involved to try and stop him, and he just, like, breaks one of the security guard's legs or something like that. I don't know. But I think that just nobody from higher up management, nothing is going to stop it. It's going to be Nakamura himself.
Fair enough.
Because he's either A, going to get tired of Orton killing all of his opponents and being like, all right, bro, this got to stop. Or B, Orton tries to target him, and he's like, all right, bro, now we fighting.
I can see that.
Nakamura's the one to stop him.
Yeah, Nakamura's the one to stop him.
I mean, it's an interesting concept. As long as Nakamura does not stop him or attempt to stop him with these dirty tactics, like, I mean, legitimately the way that we know that Nakamura is capable of performing.
But
still with the dirty, like his
Nakamura,
persona without
the Nakamura we have now is the Nakamura we have now is one of the kind of what Nakamura was for a while with New Japan. He played the same similar type of heel style, so I'm not surprised by it. He knows how to play a good heel. But the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick before we get to the favorite thing I liked about SmackDown was the whole risque video tease.
Oh, Jesus, that was just the worst. That was the worst.
I wonder how many people were laughing their butts off at this because you know what she was saying.
I was not laughing. I was not laughing at all. I was cringing. That was not a moment of like, that was a moment of, oh, really, guys?
Well, see, my whole thing is I'm laughing only because I remember the time frame that they're talking about and everything else. Like, I decided to do my own looking around. I'm like, if I remember right, this was right around the same time that Lana had already mentioned to Rusev of, there's a problem in our group. And it's not you, it's not me, it's Aiden. So with her going to him saying, I want you, and the camera stops, it's like, you know the next part is to stop managing Rusev. Or something to that level.
They just cut him off.
Yeah, but Aiden cut that to cause all this confusion. So I'm like, I'm waiting to see how uniquely they go with this before finally Rusev's like, no, this is stupid.
Rusev should just go, no, this is stupid from the get-go because it was stupid. Like, I hated that entire segment. I was so mad. I watched it and I'm like, this is the worst thing.
And they're trying to make a mountain out of this little bitty molehill.
They're trying to make SmackDown the more risque show, let's be honest. Between the stalker, Samoa Joe, the grotesqueness of Randy Orton, and now this scandal thing, SmackDown's becoming the risque show while Raw is more the PG show.
Yep.
It's how they're going with this.
We need the attitude back. We need that across the board.
Now my thing is, I think it's
certain aspects.
Well, Triple H openly had said that he was trying to revive that in the business overall, not just with Raw.
I mean, my thing is, I'm happy with it. I like it to an extent. I mean, I don't like the whole video thing. I'll agree with you on that.
Ridiculous.
But it was just one of those. It's like it's one of those. I see now that they're trying to see how far they can push the envelope again. It just only upsets me because I liked Aiden English the way he was before he snapped. And when he did snap, I was like, a heel English versus Rusev, that'd be good. Until they went to these tactics.
Yeah.
So when they started talking about this video, I knew where we were going, and I'm like, this is the most predictable, ridiculous thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it's just it's
overused,
a shame.
Overplayed.
It is.
And you could totally tell that video was stopped early. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's not like they could play it out like, I want you, and then there was like a long ... where it stopped. It's like, I want you, stop. Yeah. And you're like, oh, great, here we go.
Now, speaking of, things that were great, not great, whatever, but one thing that I would say is the greatest part was listening to the SmackDown Women's Champion lay it down like it is.
I love everything about this.
Her promo was one of the best ones, and not only because, she did a good job with it, but even the fans there agreed that, she deserves this title. This new Becky is what we've all been waiting for. And the fact that she's laying down the harsh truth towards Charlotte is the best thing ever.
What Vince McMahon didn't realize when he did it was that he made Becky Lynch the superstar. He didn't realize he was doing that until it happened. Because as soon as she turned on Charlotte, as soon as she did it, the fans went freaking nuts.
Yeah.
And he's over here like, you're supposed to hate her, Charlotte's our girl. And they're like, no, Charlotte's not our girl. Charlotte's your girl because you and Rick are butt buddies.
Yeah.
Becky is our girl.
Oh, yeah. And that was one thing that we talked about the day after the infamous slap happened. We're like, now comes a question of how are they going to run with this? Because depending on how they make Charlotte respond to it, how they make Becky respond to it, you will see who they're trying to make face, who they're trying to make heel.
They clearly tried to make Becky the heel.
Yeah, and they try to make Becky the heel. And they're still making Becky a heel.
No.
When you look at what she's doing, yes, it's very heel style, but she's got the heel style of when they try to make Austin a heel, where
110%.
It's heel style.
I was thinking it too.
Yeah, it's heel style, but the fans are eating it up like it's the best thing ever.
Like you could tell that they were trying to make her. You can
Yeah,
tell that
yeah,
they're trying to
yeah.
make Becky the heel. That at first that's what they were trying to do because of her promo. Because she's like, "Oh no, you guys, shut up! You didn't understand." Oh God.
But yeah,
Because like you didn't understand, blah 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 blah, and now you can tell that she stopped doing that because Vince understands that these fans, just because she bags on them, they're not going to stop cheering for her.
yeah, because
that's their girl.
That's their girl. They've been waiting for her to finally get her opportunity because they see how hard she works.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody got sick and tired of, it's another match with Charlotte. Guess who's going to get the belt?
Mm-hmm.
Because it became way too predictable. Like the last time Charlotte got the belt was, I believe, it was either her birthday, her dad's birthday, or was that her hometown? Or they mentioned something special and sacred
Anytime
about
that,
Charlotte.
anytime
and it was
that
like
Cole does that, he pretty much tips his hat
Yeah,
and says, "Okay, well, we're going to see something happen here."
yeah. Like when they mention those special moments during the thing, it's like, well, we already know what's going to happen. Just
Somebody
let it
needs to
happen.
learn from the past when it comes to commentating. Like the two geniuses that Ross and Lawler were. I mean, you didn't get anything.
I mean,
from that.
nowadays, whenever I watch one of the big pay-per-view events, I just wait for Cole to give away the ending unintentionally.
Yeah.
That's because Cole's an idiot.
Well, and see, that's just it. Cole
I agree.
Cole does have a great voice and personality for the business. The problem that he
100%.
Well, he wouldn't be with the company still if he didn't. It's
Yeah.
just he puts his foot in his mouth.
he
quite
does.
often.
And
No, he puts more than his foot in his mouth.
it's not only that he puts his foot in his mouth, but he does the one thing
I
he
think
does.
The Rock once said it best. He was a moon pie kind of guy.
The one thing he does wrong compared to
What's Vince's-
the infamous duo of Lawler and Ross.
I didn't say it.
The thing that he does wrong compared to the infamous Lawler and Ross situation is Lawler and Ross, well, especially Lawler, would not listen to what the card's endings were.
Nope.
We would know who the matches are, but I don't want to know who the winners are.
Yeah.
And even Lawler, who was part of the board at that time, would be like, okay, I'm going to help you set up this stuff. I'm going to help look for talent. I'm going to help for this and that.
He wants his
But
reactions.
I want to be genuine reaction. I want to be surprised.
He wants his reactions to be absolutely 110% to take that review. To be 110% like pure. Everything about it, he wants to feel it as it's happening.
Exactly.
Same way as everybody that's right there in the arena at the time.
It's
Unfortunately, nowadays it's hard to do that because you have to hype something up. You have to hype something specific up. Commentators now have such strict jobs. They have to promote this. They have to talk about this. They have to do this. That you almost have to know the ending for this match.
yeah.
And that's the crappy part about it.
But definitely, I will say that I agree with you completely that the fans have chosen their champion.
And if they gave her that title, just to take it away at the Super Showdown, I'm gonna be so mad.
Fans are going to riot. Let's be
Oh my
honest.
God.
yeah.
You're going to have a lot of
Because
fans.
you are in an international,
blowing it
you are
up.
in an international arena.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch is an international superstar.
Mhm.
You are going to have a fire in that arena if you take that belt
In
Oh,
out
that
yeah.
of there.
country and
And you are in
everywhere else.
Australia.
That
It is
not
not
the
hard.
place.
This is a place that was built off of serial killers. You
It-
think
it's
they won't
gonna
kill
be-
all of you?
It's
No,
going to
man,
be
it
more
was
dangerous.
it was a prison colony for Britain, so yeah.
It's going to be more dangerous than the Money in the Bank match of John Cena versus CM Punk, where everybody was saying, if Cena wins,
Whoa.
we will riot.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be more toxic and dangerous if they let Charlotte get that belt back in
Oh my
Australia.
God.
If they let Charlotte get that belt back and then beat Trish Stratus's 7 reign, it's over. The fans are going to be
Exactly.
The
That's
fans don't
probably
want
what they're
that.
building toward.
They're-
Well, no, because they're building towards her getting the 16,
like her daddy.
like
yeah.
her dad.
And that's
because
exactly what they're
because
trying
Rick
to do.
and Vince are butt buddies.
So, that being said,
Or
though,
Rick and H are more butt buddies, but
yeah. And with that being said,
I'm trying to remember
what's
who
gonna
said
happen?
it. But at one point, somebody had once said, being a champion 16 times only means you lost it 16 times.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
I wonder-
those runs that Charlotte had are
minuscule compared to the ones that her father had.
yeah.
They're not months and months and months old. They're
How long has
one month. I
Charlotte
want to
been
say,
an
one
active
back.
Mhm.
member of WWE and compared to how long her father was
Well, that's just
actively
it.
in the ring?
That's just it. And so I mean, it's just ridiculous
Like,
to think
I'll
about.
give credit where credit is due. Charlotte is an amazing competitor. She's an amazing wrestler, but she has literally had everything handed to her the second she walked through that door. all because her last name is Flair.
Exactly.
And it's a shame because she is truly talented. She's a truly good wrestler, and I feel like she could definitely make a name for herself by herself.
Right.
But she's been given everything since she walked through the door, and the fans notice that. The fans notice that kind of thing, and they hate it.
The fans will see right through you.
Silver spoon in her mouth with a...
And the fans hate it.
So a lot of people had high hopes for Foley's daughter.
Oh, yeah.
To
I was hoping for that myself.
get in there, but she didn't get past her NXT tryout,
Yeah.
last I heard.
Yeah. But you never know. But
she didn't accept any passes because of her lineage.
But you know, we talk about all these hype things, we talk about all these great matches and other great events that happen or going to happen. We've already talked about one, which is your match coming up for Brawloween. Jason, you got anything else for us about PWA's Brawloween that you'd like to share?
I don't have the actual card in front of me.
He was too busy playing the trivia game earlier. So
Hey, like you've never played it.
I didn't,
No,
but I don't play it during the show.
I will admit, more than likely, it's like we have every time where we try to message 2 or 3 people, hey, do you have anything on the card for us? And we don't hear anything until after 9:30.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, guys, the show's already over.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
Well, I
expect
mean, we
one
still-
match
we still-
from
yes.
Hooligans.
We still got next week's show too to hype it up too.
That's true. And you know, like I said, we do have the Hooligans coming.
Hooligans are the number
That's
one
going to be
contenders.
great. That's going to be an excellent match.
And that match that they had in the last show, that was actually really good.
I was very impressed with them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see them in Attitude Inc.
Yeah.
So you got that match, you got my match.
Absolutely.
You got the big battle royal for the
Oh, yeah.
number 1 contendership for the regional heavyweight championship.
Yeah, since Victor Analog was not successful in his attempt
Yep.
in
Yeah.
Beardstown.
And it is, if I remember correctly, I think I remember being told that Hannah and Cardini are having a match.
Yes, the Nightmare on 8th Street
Yes.
That's right.
street fight.
The street fight. That's going to
So
be...
there's another good one right there. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of interesting things going on.
Yeah.
But that will definitely, like you said, when we have more information, because we still got a little bit of time,
Yeah.
one more week.
The date and location.
Is a week from Saturday,
Yes.
October 13th.
October 13th. 8th Street Gym, Springfield. Starts at 7 o'clock, as always. Doors open at 6:30. Meet and greet with Victoria starts at 5:30, I believe. And that's an additional fee on the ticket if you want that.
Yep.
I think the total, the admission price, I think on that's $40 altogether.
Fair enough. I mean, it is Victoria,
For
so.
early entry and the
We'll
meet and greet.
be there too, so if you want to meet and greet us without the fee, I mean, that's...
At my usual spot behind the control boards.
Yeah.
I'll probably be there. Being a
Or
smart
master
aleck.
control, as I...
So I'll probably be there being a
Nickname
smart
it.
aleck as usual.
I know we're gonna try to get a piece with Victoria.
Yeah, we'll have somebody definitely do an interview with her if possible, because, you know, it
Yeah.
is Victoria.
Totally.
And then also, like you said, we'll be there to enjoy the show. We've always had a blast there with you guys, you know, watching Harley as well as a bunch of all the other competitors out there. Giving it all they got. They never disappoint.
Yeah, Brawloween is always one of my most stressful shows because of the Battle Royal, most particularly.
Yeah.
Because I have to keep going through all the entrance music and everything that I have on the computer and making sure I have everything lined up for the next entrant.
And also regional heavyweight champion, my best friend. Jake Lander will be there.
Of
Yep.
course.
If you're going to sit in the front row, especially close to the doors, make sure you bring earmuffs or
Yes.
earplugs.
That small child will be there, and she's very loud.
She's still one of our favorites because she's very entertaining. But I want to let you guys know so you can protect your ears.
110%, because she is ear shattering. Like, glass shattering's one thing, but she shatters ears. That's a thing.
There was someone else I was hoping to mention too. That Robbie and I actually got to talk to a young YouTuber actually, who's actually on like 100 days straight now. He's been at all of the PWA shows lately.
Nice.
He was at Athens and in
Yeah, he was at both shows over the last weekend.
There you go.
His name's Dominic.
Yeah, we'll have to do definitely put a link for him. I mean,
Yeah.
a little shout out.
I mean, I told him I said I'd get around to doing that. I just remembered that I was like, wait a minute, there was something else I wanted to say.
Well, there you go, Dominic. And ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much wraps up the time we have for today. Again, Harley, thank you so much for joining
Of
us.
course, thank you for having me.
And we'll be looking forward to that part 2 about the unique personality of Harley and the evolution of it.
Now, next week we're supposed to have a special announcement.
Yes, we'll have a special announcement with our special guest.
Regarding PWA.
But also, we will make sure to keep nagging, Mr. Kluge here about getting that belt for you.
Yeah.
I've been nagging for years.
Now you got 2 other voices in your corner. So.
Awesome.
And we'll bribe Rob to do the same.
Well, like I said,
You know how to run
it
Rob.
has been discussed and it's something that will be implemented.
Is that another to be continued?
Yeah, pretty much.
Ouch.
That's the best I can do right now.
Uh-huh.
Fair
Well,
enough.
thanks for watching. Be sure to hit
Absolutely.
that subscribe button, hit that bell to be notified when we do go live and when we do upload anything else in the future. And be sure to check out the description below for any and all social media networking connections.
I do have a Facebook and an Instagram. I do have a Twitter, but I don't even have the Twitter app on my phone, so you might as well just not even follow that
Facebook
one.
and Instagram, we'll put her down there for you. So.
Yeah.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Y'all say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.